Hi, and welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating podcast. My name is Kristen Jones, and thank you so much for coming and sharing an hour or so, maybe a little bit less than it won't be an hour, a little bit of time with us today. I am live in the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community here on Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough. And we have a live Facebook live going on. And again, if you're watching and you haven't said hi, jump on in the comments, say hi. This will definitely be participatory. So I will be asking for y'all to comment. If you're listening on the podcast and you are not a member of the group yet, please jump on into Facebook and come and join us. It is a incredibly beautiful and supportive community. And that is actually what we're going to talk about today is why community is so important when you are working towards achieving any kind of goal or changing a habit, changing a behavior, why it is so important who you surround yourself with. And I want to make very clear I am not asking anybody to end a friendship or end a relationship or anything like that. But we as human beings, we need support. And when we're trying to making habit changes and making behavior changes are not easy. These are not things that you just picked up, a couple of weeks ago. If you have some issues with food, these are things that have been around a long time. And it takes time and patience and grace and persistence in order to continue on because it's not always going to be easy. And so it's really important that you have a community that is supportive because there is definitely research behind why community supports and encourages and allows people, and it really helps people be able to move forward when it comes to reaching whatever goal it is that they've set for themselves. It's one of the reasons why, truthfully, it's one of the reasons why groups have been created by Facebook. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg knows what he's talking about. Um, Groups are the power of groups is definitely real, and he understands that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So, what we're going to talk about today on the podcast, you're going to learn three things. You're going to learn why the social element is important for goal acquisition and habit formation. So, why is that social element? Why is that so important? Secondly, why with weight loss is a community so incredibly vital? Because there are certain struggles that people go through when it comes to trying to lose weight, and people need that support. So we're going to talk about that, and then the last thing we're going to talk about is how, for you personally, to capitalize on being a member of this group, and what does that look like, and um, how do you want to make that happen? But before we get started, I want to do a little shout out. So I always like to do a member shout out slash client shout out. So I want to shout out the 11 new people who just jumped on and jumped into the 21-day breakthrough Jumpstart program. And there are actually there's at this point there are 11 new members, and we have over 30 people in the group because a lot of my membership clients, actually most of my membership clients, are coming over and participating in the 21 days as well. But I want to shout out um, Sherry, Beate, Beth, Amelia, Karen, Jamie, Janet, Elizabeth, Joy, Cynthia, and very recently, Kelly. So thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm so incredibly excited for you to be able to experience the amount of learning and the amount of knowledge that you're going to get when it comes to the side of weight loss that most people don't talk about and that most people don't know about. And we're going to talk a lot about the brain. We're going to talk about a lot about how our brain works and what that looks like and how you can harness the power of your brain in order to help you not only lose weight, but more importantly, keep it off. So again, welcome. Super happy that you are participating. And if you are wondering, I don't know about that 21 day, I don't know what she's talking about. Or you're saying, maybe it's filling up. Yeah, it is filling up. So you want to get on it. So there'll be a little information at the end. So stick around to the end and we will talk a little bit more about that. All right. So community, community, groups on Facebook. Why have they become such a big deal? And why is creating community so important? Well, humans, us, we are in fact herd animals. We we are meant to be social creatures. We're meant to be in groups. And part of being in a group and part of being belonging to a community is that feeling of belonging. I know very few people who are like, I actively look for people to reject me. That just doesn't, people do not, people may say, oh, I don't like people. And so I just don't, I don't interact with people. That is a fear of rejection. So nobody wants to be rejected. And so groups are a way for you to feel a part of something bigger than yourself. And so that is very, very important. It's our deepest desire as human beings to belong, to know that others care about us, and to know that we matter. So the interesting thing is about our us as a human being and culturally as well. We do not create or think, I really want to adopt the habit of brushing my teeth every morning. I don't, for those of you who have had kids, and I see it with my nieces and nephews, unless you make it really appealing to them, and I'll explain why, kids don't naturally want to brush their teeth. They don't want to. You have to really get on their case about it. The same thing with showering. Some people don't like to shower. They don't like to. Those things are not habits that we just say, I'd like to adopt that. We actually imitate in order to develop a habit or develop a behavior. We don't actually create that ourselves. We mimic and we imitate those around us. And so when we develop a habit, it's because we've seen someone else do it over and over and over again. And because of our desire to stay a part of the pack or the family or the tribe, whatever you want to call it, the village, nobody wants to get kicked off the island. So we all want to stay and being in everyone's good graces. You pick up the habits and the behaviors of those people around you. And it makes total sense because that is one of our deepest fears is that fear of rejection, of the fear of being cast out. Because if we remember, if you think back, and for those of you who don't know, I spent 17 years as a middle school teacher. And so I taught the Middle Ages, seventh grade English. Shout out to Iron Horse Middle School in San Ramon, California. I taught Middle Ages, and Middle Ages was a time when societies and towns and cities were just being formed, and people would come together as a tribe, as a village, and you wanted to stay a part of that village because if you got cast out, not only was it devastating because no one would talk to you, but the potential for your survival became very low because when you were cast out, you had no one to protect you. You had no one to come to your aid. You literally had no one come to your aid. And if you were not on someone's property and you were not a part of a group, you were fair game for any other group of people, any other animals, whatever it was. You had no protection at all. And so people had to adapt and adopt into the behaviors of those around them because they wanted to stay a part of the group. And so that essentially is what has come down over the course of years and years, hundreds and thousands of years, is we're talking about people who, for their survival, had to develop the habits and the behaviors of those people around them. And we still do the same thing. So we don't find it a problem. In fact, because it brings us a benefit, not being kicked out of the group, we find it attractive. We do not mind developing those behaviors. And the behaviors that we adopt, the most frequent, are the people that we are closest to, the people that we have the most contact with, and because they have the biggest influence on us. And so, have you ever noticed how, like, say if you travel, or if you have a son or a daughter, or for you, if you go off and you go someplace to visit, and there's a different dialect or a different way of people speaking, do you ever notice that when you come back, you've kind of picked up on the phrases, the sayings, the norms, the language norms that these particular people that you're hanging out with happen to have? You absolutely do that because these people are close to you. You have respect and value for them. So of course you're going to adopt those things. And so it's so oftentimes it's extremely unconscious. We aren't even aware that we're doing it, but it eventually becomes something that then becomes kind of a habit. So there are two examples of why and how this happens, or how it happens. Um, there was a really huge groundbreaking study of about 12,000 people. And the study went over 32 years. And they studied friends. They studied people who were friends. And when one friend became obese, there was a 57% chance that the other friend was also going to become obese, because they picked up on each other's habits and and norms of behavior, eating patterns, all of them. So that's pretty astounding. So it can go in one direction, but it also can go in the other direction. The inverse can be true as well. If one person in a romantic relationship, if one person decides to lose weight, even unconsciously, the other person, even if they haven't decided that they're going to support their partner, they oftentimes will start to lose weight. So we adopt and pick up on the characteristics of our behavior, as well as the habits that those people closest to us happen to be using. Um, so when people feel a part of things, they are motivated to continue to do what they're doing. And so that is really why, when it comes to habit formation, people will seek out a group, a like-minded group. If they're trying to develop a habit, they're going to seek out a like-minded group of people that are going to make them feel welcome, make them feel a part of things, but they're also going to want to stay a part of that group. Even if it's the most friendly, open, welcome group, and nobody, there's no judgment, nobody has any, people still inside, we all have that very basic, natural need to be safe and to be protected. And part of that is belonging to a group. So we will oftentimes go along with those groups, the group norm or the group identity, in order to fit in. And that can be extremely beneficial when it comes to developing positive habits, and it comes to developing positive behaviors. There are kind of two ends of the spectrum when we think about, because most of the time when people think of peer pressure, they think of peer pressure as being a negative thing. So it's always like, oh, so and so is like, don't they shouldn't hang out with that person, because that person, if you have a teenage son or daughter, and there's someone who, you find out one of their friends smokes, you're like, oh, you can't hang out with them because they're going to be a bad influence on you. You're probably pretty right about that. If that is a group, if that's the community or the group that young person is hanging out with, yes, it absolutely could be something that they would automatically just kind of morph into. But the inverse is true as well. So there is a story about a man who was in a college class. This was back in the 60s, and he was in a college class, and he was in a college class, and it was at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and he was at this class at MIT, and there were 20 people in the class. And it turned out that 10 of these people ended up being astronauts that ended up going on shuttles to, you know, to outer space. And this gentleman, his name was Mike Massimo, this gentleman also became an astronaut because he surrounded himself with people who had the same aspirations, the same goals, the same desires as he did. And so it was a very advantageous circumstance. And so peer pressure to fit in, to achieve, to do certain things can be both positive or negative. It just depends on the direction you want to go in. So it's always possible in either direction. So why is this important when it comes to weight loss? Why is this important? Well, weight loss is hard, y'all. I mean, it can be tough. It takes determination, it takes commitment, it takes drive, and it takes persistence. And I think y'all know it takes a whole lot of patience. And that really is that going and doing that alone can be really, really challenging when you don't have anyone to bounce any ideas off of, and you don't feel supported and uplifted and valued and understood by anyone in your life, and you don't have a group, you don't have some group of people who don't feel that way, it's going to be really, really challenging. So there is a huge desire to surround yourself, and a huge need to surround yourself with people who will support, encourage, motivate, understand, and sometimes just listen to what's going on with you. And there's a need for that because we all need, as I said in the previously, when we feel a part of the group, we feel motivated to stay and to keep doing those positive behaviors. So that is really, really important. So I'm going to ask right now in the group, if you have felt that it has been easier for you to maintain and stay on a course of 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 losing weight, of health, of doing what you have always wanted and needed to do in order to lose weight. Has it been easier for you since you have joined this group? Have you been able to see? So I just want you to put in the comments, I just want you to put the word support. So if it has in fact been easier for you to maintain and stay motivated and continue to do what you need to do in order to lose weight, just put the word support in the comments. And I'm also going to ask you that if it has been easier for you, I would love for you to, next to, actually you've already written the word support, so now go back and comment with how much weight you have lost. So support, and then how much weight you've lost. Because I think that because it's that feeling of people understanding and again being there, but that is really incredibly powerful. So we got lots of supports here. Oh, good. We got Pat, Grandma Julie, Gina, Kendra, Debbie, Tammy. Awesome. Billy, 22 pounds. That is amazing. Awesome. Tammy, 20. Trisha, 23. Good. That's amazing. Awesome. So happy for all of you. I think Carol, 8. Amazing. That's awesome. I love that.
Julie, 43, just realizing that support and those, there are people going through this with you is really something that's really, again, extremely powerful and really will help with that habit development, that habit formation. So some of the reasons why we want to find and seek out those like-minded groups of people, and especially when it comes to weight loss. And the reason why we want to do that is, one, because there's a common bond that uncovers other commonalities that we didn't know that we had in common. If we hadn't had this one singular thing, this weight loss, then we wouldn't have been able to then discover that maybe you both like to play the guitar, or you're into Mexican food, or whatever. Kendra, 35, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's wonderful. I love that. You wouldn't have found these other things. Debbie Rooney, 36. Nice. So you wouldn't have found those things. So it's really, really important that commonality of finding one thing you're working towards really does allow you to open the door and be able to find other people that you're connected with. Again, provide support. One of the things, and I think, and I'm gonna, Julie, I know that you have mentioned this, is it's so important sometimes to see an example when something is being taught to you about weight loss, or whatever the case may be. When you're learning something new, sometimes you need to see it and hear it from somebody else, not necessarily from me, not necessarily from the person who's leading you. Sometimes you need to hear that, oh yeah, oh, I didn't get that, but then she said it and I really understood it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very, very passionate about group coaching, is I think it's so incredibly valuable to allow people to be able to, one, watch other people be coached, but also to be able to see and hear how other people explain things about what they're learning. And it can just be that light bulb that goes on and you're like, oh yeah, I totally get it now. Didn't see it before, but now I see it because of the way they said it, or because of how they were coached, or how they explained it. So super powerful. We can also share ideas, share strategies. I think one of the things that I just really like is people get you. Like, we all speak a common language. We all have been through so many of the same things. And so when you say something, when you say, like, you're going to tell something that you think is just like, oh, so personal, and people are like, oh no, I totally get it, don't worry. And you're like, oh my God, really? Like, and I mean, that was the hardest thing for me. Hi, Robin Willis, good to see you. I felt so alone for so many years, because and it was a secret I had to keep, and it was so isolating for me that it was so hard. And knowing that I wasn't the only person was like the biggest relief ever. And again, I think again, people want to be a part. Hi, Julie. People want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, that is a larger, in a larger context. And I think that that's really important too. So this is what I really think is interesting. And this, again, can be both positive or negative. But in our case, with our group and with weight loss, the behaviors of the tribe, the group, the village, whatever it is, the behaviors of the tribe will override the desires of the individual. So if the individual really desires that, like, you know what, I want to eat off plan, I am not feeling it right now, and they come into the group and everybody's posted their stuff and everybody's saying, oh my gosh, we're doing so, like, oh my gosh, this is what I ate today, this is great, I'm feeling so good. And all of a sudden that person's like, oh gosh, that eating off plan doesn't seem quite so appealing right now. Maybe I can just, the thing I want tonight, maybe let's put it on my meal plan for tomorrow. Because maybe then somebody in the group says, hey, I just walked by a donut shop and wanted to have a donut, but I'm putting it on my meal plan for tomorrow. And all of a sudden that person goes, oh, that's right, totally can do that. So all of a sudden you see how that works, and see how we that community, and that just builds. It builds and it supports everyone, because again, the behavior of the group overrides the desires of the individual. Um, so again, one of the best things to do when you join a culture or you join a group, again, seek out a culture that is seeking and trying to work towards something that you are working towards, is really actively trying to be involved. And one of the things, it's so recommended. I have a very dear friend of mine. Her name is Melissa. And Melissa is not a part of our group. Melissa is somebody I know from my fitness classes. And Melissa decided that she wanted to do triathlons. Like, she had kind of been active. She had played sports in high school and really enjoyed being active, but decided that she really wanted to seek out and really really explore her desire to be a triathlete. And so what did she do? She joined a triathlete club, a triathlon club. She lives in a town probably 30 minutes from me, and so they have this triathlon club. And she has become so a part of this group. And now she is regularly, with the exception of COVID, but she's now regularly competing in these triathlons. And she has gotten in, she was always in really good shape, but she's phenomenal shape. And she has all the equipment. She's part of the group, and she would never miss she'd never miss a weekend, never miss a weekend ride. And the cool thing is she has the group. Her partner is not a triathlete. Her partner is supportive, but her partner's not in the group. She does this on her own. But her partner has seen how happy she is, and she's like, well, why would I not support her? So she goes and she watches her participate in these races. And so, but Melissa's able to do it. And even though her partner is not a triathlete, she's able to find that support that she needs in this group, and it does not compromise or impact her relationship in any sort of way. And so it's a beautiful thing to be able to find that those like-minded people that can become a part of your life and really help lead you towards these really healthful things. And it doesn't have to be at the detriment of a relationship or anything like that. So I want to make sure that that's super clear. So when it comes to ways that you can be active and really an active participant in this group, is I'm going to say, post daily, post something, post a hi, pull one of those little memes off of, go onto the great quotes and pull some of those, pull one down and pop it up, make a comment, or share when you're having a hard day. Post, okay? Posting is something that really is really valuable. Second thing, comment and support others. Comment on other people's posts. Support them. Support their bravery, support their courage. And eventually you'll feel comfortable and courageous enough that you want to post too. Post your morning planner. If you don't know where the morning planners are, morning planners are all in the guide section. You go to the guide section, search through the guide section, you will find a post on all, the morning planner, the daily planner that has your gratitude and how you want to think about yourself and all the good stuff. So definitely do that. That is a great way of really moving yourself forward. Ask for support. Ask for support. That is what I really love about this community, is that y'all ask for each other's support. You're not afraid of posting. You're not afraid of saying, hey, I'm having a tough day. And that's what I wanted, because again, I didn't have that. I didn't have that as I was knee deep, neck deep in everything I was going through. And I would have loved to have had that. So ask for support. Again, encourage like-minded friends of your own. friends that you have your own, that if you think they're struggling, if you think that they would benefit, encourage them to come and be a part, and have somebody that you have, a connection with in the group, and you'll then be more likely to come into the group on a regular basis and participate in what we're doing. Share what you know with others. I'm going to call out Julie Pope because I love how she shares her thoughts. She shares her wise wisdom. Julie, you've been on a roll in the last 2-3 weeks where you have just done some like mind-boggling engagement posts, and they have just been so moving and so helpful. And I know I really appreciate it. So, and I know that members do as well. I know, people, they're just really inspiring, and it's inspiring because you're sharing a part of yourself as well. And that's so valuable. And you are showing other people that that's a good thing to do. So thank you for doing that. And the last thing is participate in our challenges, participate in our, when I ask a question, on Mondays, I always ask a question that's somehow referencing the podcast. So ask comment on that and get involved. I do a challenge, participate, raise your hand, participate, but be a part of the community. The other thing, I didn't even have this written down, the other thing, send me a message, send me a private message. If you have a question about something, you can post it in the group. You don't want to post it in the group, send me a private message. I love talking to y'all, so send me a private message. Okay, make that happen. Okay, be a part. Open yourself up. Allow yourself to. So many of us are so good at giving support and help and love to other people, but we will not open ourselves up to accepting it from others. We have to open up. We have to open up, and we have to allow other people to be there to support us. So please, please, please do that. And if you're listening on the podcast and you're thinking, holy moly, this sounds like a great community, you are so right. So come on over to Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough, and join the group, become a member, and really experience firsthand the level of support and resources and information that's available to you just all the time. We have our weekly podcasts, always filled with great information. There's just tons of resources in the guide section. You can have my book. You can have the workbook that goes along with my book. So please feel free to come and join us. It just really is. Again, it's just a really amazing place to be. So before we pop off, I do just want to do a little reminder. And again, if the power of community, if this is something that really has kind of struck you and you're like, maybe I need that to get started, maybe I need that to continue, or maybe I'm getting to the end and I'm thinking, I'm getting a little scared that I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep this weight off. The Jumpstart program would be exactly what you need. So again, this Friday, as in 2 days from now, last day to register to be a part of it. We're starting on the 19th. That's Monday the 19th. We're going through August 8th. And if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I have no idea what she's talking about this 21-day Jumpstart. Well, let me just tell you briefly. It will be a very shortened, condensed, Reader's Digest, but super valuable perspective on my program that I run my clients through, that not only teaches them how to lose weight and eat the foods that they love, honest to goodness, I think people think that I'm kidding, like that you're really supposed to think, what diet foods do I like? So I am going to ask any of my girls who are on this call, I'd like, actually, you know what I'd like y'all to do? I'd like you, if you are on this podcast, I would like you to post what you had for dinner last night, because I know I see your meal plans. I know my girls eat, and they eat well. They eat what they love. So post what you had for dinner last night. So Oh, Tammy, Friday's your birthday. That's awesome. But post what you have for dinner, because I sometimes people don't think that we really do eat what we love. But go ahead and post that. So again, eating foods that you love, in addition to, and this is where like the rubber meets the road, is that not only will you learn what you need to learn in order to start losing weight and to keep it off, but to keep it off and address your issues with emotionally, and figure out, why do I emotionally eat, and what do I need to do? What do I need to start working on to really remedy that? And what is it? What is the thing? Because we all know we can lose weight, but keeping it off is just tough. Oh my goodness. Carol wrote meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and lima beans. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. Chip dip mini sandwiches and a blueberry tart, all pork. I'm gonna tell you, Trisha likes dessert for dinner. I love that. Oh my gosh, Julie had fried catfish fingers, sauteed squash, and onions. Julie, I believe 43 pounds. Is that what we're talking about? I believe so. Pat, basil, you guys are making me hungry. Basil salmon, fresh tomatoes, and ice cream. She forgot to write ice cream. She's having it tonight. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Tara, homemade baked chimichangas, chips and salsa. Woo woo. Kendra had pizza. That is awesome. And y'all, this is just the way we do it. This is the way we roll here. So, again, the 21-day Jumpstart gets you in that frame of mind to be able to eat what you love, lose weight, but more importantly, figure out why you emotionally eat, and then tips, strategies to get you moving in the direction of being able to manage that and not have that be the thing that dominates your life. That's really what I want, because like I said, it has dominated my life for so many years, and my life is so different now, and I want everyone to be exposed to this, because it is, and you can be exposed to this. This is information that's in the group, but if you need to go a little bit deeper, if you're really struggling to figure out that emotional eating piece, and you want to learn some really deep dives, some super secret strategies, because I got them, especially when it comes to eating foods you love. You definitely want to inquire about that. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more, I would be happy to reach out to you. So just put 21 in the comments. 20, the letter. Oh my gosh. Hello, English teacher. The number 21 in the comments, and 21 in the comments, and I will happily reach out to you. Again, Friday's the last day. We have over 30 people in the group. I had initially had planned on capping it at about 25, but we're gonna go. I'm feeling really inspired, and so we're gonna bring in who needs us, and but Friday is the cutoff, because I do have to make sure that everybody's ready for our start on Monday. So, all right, have an amazing Wednesday. If you are already in the evening portion of your day, I hope you had a great day, and have an amazing evening. If you're here on the West Coast or in the Central Time Zone, you have a little bit more time to your day. So again, have a great one. And if you're listening on the podcast, thanks for joining us and listening. And I will see you all next week. All right, take care, y'all.